Hello everybody, hope you're all keeping well. In this video we're going to see how to write successful CVs and job applications. What you should do and what you shouldn't do to write a powerful CV and job application, the professional language, vocabulary, and the grammar you're going to use on both to get all your chances to be shortlisted. So if you're ready, let's get started. First of all, when you're writing a CV or a job application, the first impression you want to give is to sound professional and to present yourself in a very professional way. Then your writing should be formal instead of informal. But what does that mean? It means that you should select your words and expressions. Let's look at these examples. I want to apply for this position. I would like to apply for this position. I would appreciate if you consider my application. You can see that the first, second, and third expressions have got the same meaning. However, the second and third ones are more polite, more professional, and better to use in a job application. You shouldn't use contractions. Contractions are words like am, I'll, can't, etc. and they should not be used in CVs and job applications. You shouldn't use slang in a job application letter or a CV. Words like cool or super must be avoided. Also, you shouldn't use idioms. Idioms are expressions used a lot in conversations but are not recommended in a formal context. For example, you can say, the final exam was a piece of cake, which means it was very easy. This can be used in a daily conversation, but not when you're writing your CV or a job application. Final point, you should try to avoid adverbs like really, very, totally. So if you want to say, for instance, I'm very motivated or I'm totally devoted, these words will make you sound unprofessional. So this was a general overview of the professional language to be used in CVs and job applications. Now we're going to learn more about the vocabulary of CVs and job applications. Vocabulary is very important as it makes you look very professional, very confident, and also a valuable candidate. This is why it's very important to select your words. So when you find a job advertisement and after reading the job description, try to select the keywords. They might say, for instance, they're looking for somebody with good communication skills or someone who's got experience in a certain field or someone who's familiar with a specific software. Whatever they say in the job description, try to take the same vocabulary and use it in your CV or job application. Why? Simply because your objective is to show that you're a good match and that your skills match the skills required for this job. Second point, use power verbs. Use power verbs when you're writing a CV or a job application. But first, what's a power verb? A power verb is a verb that has a very strong sounding meaning. They are often used in job applications and CVs, and I'll give you an example here. You can say, I made my department better, or I improved my department. You can see that the meaning is the same, but one of the sentences is better than the other for a CV or a job application. Which one do you think is better? Yes, very good. The second one is better because improved is a power verb. It's a stronger verb and it makes you sound like a better candidate. If you're interested in learning more about power verbs, please refer back to the PDF document that you can find on the platform. Another key point, avoid repetition. Don't use the same verbs and words again and again and again, okay? And in this case, a thesaurus can really help you to find other words to talk about your experiences. So this was in general a little bit about the vocabulary of CVs and job applications. Remember, 3 main points. Use keywords, use power verbs, and avoid repetition. Now we are going to talk about the grammar. And the first step is you should use the active voice. But what do we mean by this? Well, let's look at these 2 examples. I prepared daily reports. Daily reports were prepared by me. You can see that the meaning is the same, but with only the difference that the first one is in the active voice and the second one is in the passive voice. So which one would be better for a job application? Very good. The first one would be better because it's using the active voice. Second point, in job applications we use full sentences. This is very different from in CVs where we use bullet points and we don't use full sentences. Another key point when we are talking about CVs and job applications is to avoid repetition. As we've seen with vocabulary that we should not use the same words and verbs, it's the same thing with grammar. And in your job application, you wouldn't use the same sentence structure because it would be very boring to read a job application saying, I was a maintenance engineer, I prepared maintenance daily reports, I did this, I did that, I attended meetings, I supervised the work. You need to change the grammar. So it's good to have some present tense, some past tense, some present perfect. You can change the ordering of the sentence. You can, for instance, use gerunds at the beginning of the sentence, and so on. So remember, don't use the same grammar structure for each sentence. And there is another thing I wanted to say, and that's in terms of tense. When we're thinking about the job application and CVs, you'll notice that a lot of things are going to be in the past tense. So a lot of verbs are going to have ed on them, and you might have also irregular verbs in the past tense form. That's when we are talking about past experience. But pay attention, on CVs and job applications, you can also talk about the present experience. So be careful with your grammar. Make sure when you're talking about the present to use the present tense, and if you're talking about the past or past experience to use the past tense, alright? So that was in general a quick overview about the grammar for job applications and CVs. Now that you've finished writing your CV and job application, you're ready to apply. But first, have you edited your CV and job application? Because this is also a very important step, to look over your job application and CV carefully and to check all the spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes. You know, a lot of employers, when they see a mistake on a CV or a job application, they will not even read the rest of it and they will not consider your application. So it's very, very important that you do not have any mistakes on your CV or job application, and that's why you should edit it. So first of all, make sure you check the spelling. You can use a spell check, but also look at it yourself. Another point, check the grammar. Do you have any grammar mistakes? The tense. Did you use the past tense correctly? You need also to check the punctuation. Have you put periods where there's supposed to be periods? So you need to think about the grammar and punctuation, and if you have any mistakes there, correct them. You should also look at the format. I don't know, how does your CV or job application look? Have you put the date in the right place? Have you put your name in the right place? Does everything line up okay? You need to check all these points and to look very carefully at your CV and job application. And once you're done with this, ask someone to check it for you. A family member or a friend or your English teacher. The more people look at it, the more feedback you get and the more mistakes can be caught this way. So very important step, check your CV and job application carefully and edit them for any mistakes. Alright? I'd like to thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful. But before this, I'd like to remind you to refer back to the course that you can find on the platform. Also try to do the activities to see how much you understood the lesson and practice the concepts we've discussed. Thank you again for watching, and until we meet up, take care.